Coming up in episode 55, my concern is then what happens is if this is your only interaction and you're using Facebook for all of your news and all of your interactions with people, and you have gone through over the last, 7 years
that
or
is
however
a scary
long,
thought,
to where you're hiding the stuff that of the people who don't agree with you. You're walking around in this bubble that everybody in the world thinks the way you do. Welcome to another episode of The Little Radio Show. My name is Sandra Fernandez, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Juan, Alanis, and Anjelica, Cazares, and we're bringing you small talk about big topics. This week, we're bringing you a brief PSA to remind you to register to vote or to check and make sure that your registration is up to date. Blab shut down. We talk a little bit about that and the changes that Google is making to Hangout on air versus YouTube Live, and Facebook's rolling out the 2-seat Facebook Live option. In addition, the first day of school is behind us, and as the nice Tia that I am, I helped get the kids out to school. We talk a little bit about how sometimes family obligations come with a lot of heart. Just a reminder that you can catch us every week on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Central Time on hmsnetradio.org. Our show archives and the link to our iTunes and Stitcher channels are available at thelittleradioshow.com. The Little Radio Show is brought to you in partnership with juanofwords.com and hispanichouston.com. I'm going to take a moment to do a PSA, and that's public service announcement for y'all that don't speak acronym. A mild public service announcement, and take this opportunity to remind everyone to go out and make sure that you're registered to vote. And that if you think you're registered to vote, please go and check while you still have time. A lot of the states, voter registration closes August, September, somewhere in that area. It's going to depend on the state. And so we've got kind of an important election coming up. Usually a lot more people will vote in national elections than in local elections, even though amazingly more laws that affect you are done at the local level than at the national level. But I know that everyone is very invested in the way that this particular election is going to turn out. And wouldn't it be awful if you didn't get a chance to voice your opinion by casting your ballot because you just forgot to check to make sure that you were in fact registered? So how do you find out if you're registered to vote? Well, normally it's going to be something at the state or the county level, depending, again, on the state. What you can do is Google search, am I registered to vote in, and then do your county name, and it'll normally bring up somewhere that will give you instructions. If that doesn't work for you, check with the League of Women Voters in your area, because usually they have wonderful resources explaining not just how to vote, how to register to vote, but how to find out where your polling place is, and they usually also have impartial information about the candidates in your area. As I'm not sure if the local chapters do national candidates as well, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't have resources for those as well.
And most of the time, like you said, you can register online to vote. So, yeah, register to vote and take everybody that you know to register to vote too.
And then I won't even ask you who you're voting for, because then that'll turn into a 10-minute conversation about, okay, I can't tell you who to vote for, but go vote. Just go and get off your butts and go vote.
Thanks again for tuning in to The Little Radio Show, where we're bringing you small talk about big topics. I'm your host, Anjelica, Cazares, and I want to invite you to visit our iTunes channel to leave us a rating and a review. It's a really great way to show us your supports, and we really appreciate the love. Find the link on our iTunes channel at thelittleradioshow.com.
If you're just tuning in, this is The Little Radio Show on hmsnetradio.org. Considering that total users actually, quote-unquote, only ever topped in the hundreds of thousands, maybe in the low millions. Blab, the fact that Blab is closed doesn't in fact affect too many people. But
I like Blab.
I know. That's what I was going to say. I know, Juan, that you use Blab. For the other mass population out there who has no idea what I'm talking about when I say Blab. Blab was, not anymore is, Blab was a kind of a live video conferencing, live video option that allowed you to have up to 4 people at once, all from remote locations, and also allowed for text chat to be happening at the same time. You could do private conversations with people and record them. I know a lot of podcasters were using this, and a lot of bloggers were using this particular science and technology, this particular service to do interviews and to host live shows and other stuff like that. But a few weeks ago, Blab officially closed for business with a, thank you for everything, and we're going to see where we're going from here kind of thing. And a few of us mourned the service. At the same time, we found out that the fact that YouTube launched YouTube Live means that Google is in fact discontinuing Google Hangouts for Air. And that was their kind of Blab type thing. It allowed up to 10 people to, the last I checked, allowed up to 10 people to all participate in a chat or some sort of a webcast live that you could schedule, and it would archive itself to Google. And now what's supposed to be happening is that's supposed to be going to to YouTube Live. I haven't tested YouTube Live. I don't know if it allows.
Is it active already though?
But first of all, YouTube Live I believe is active, but I don't know if it has the feature that is going to allow people from multiple locations to come into and do that kind of a video chat. Because if it doesn't, then that's a functionality that no one else is offering right now.
So because I used Hangout at one point, and then when I found out about Blab, I switched to Blab, and the reason I like Blab it was because it was just easy. I like that it split the screen and I could see the other person. And I like the fact that it sent me the audio and the video.
Also, the quality was much better.
Yeah, and but what I will say, it was not very easy to navigate. So the first time that I tried to figure out how to use Blab, it took me a while to figure out how to actually get a Blab set up. And then people were always confused when I told them about Blab because they were like, "Well, how do I get into that?"
Yeah,
because it wasn't very intuitive. And Google Hangout, I haven't played with YouTube Live yet, but I used it. That was what I used most recently was Google Hangout because Blab was gone. So I'm sad about Blab.
It looks like the creators of Blab are working on something completely different. So they shut down Blab to work on a bigger, better project is what they're saying.
Yes.
So it might be another live streaming type of app that we can still do the same thing. That's going to be a lot better.
We do need another one, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Now, Facebook recently made the announcement that their live streaming capabilities was going to soon include the ability for 2 people to live stream from,
because
together.
prior to that was just one person. It was just one person, and all you did was interact with the people who had comments. And it was kind of like a Periscope thing where people kind of gave you hearts and they gave you little comments here and there, and that's the only way. And sometimes I would even tell Juan, I can't even do more than 10 minutes because I feel at some point I'm just talking to myself, which relatively that's all that's happening. And at some point you're like, okay, there's 6 people here. I wonder if one person can say something. There can be an engagement. It can be different.
Did exceptionally well.
Yes, they did.
Because Blab allowed you for people to say, "Can I come and sit in on your conversation?" That's what they call them, seats. Come and sit in on your conversation. You could open and allow people to come in, kind of like callers on a radio show,
right?
To call in and then to leave and to circle people around. And I know I had heard of Blab being used for online speed dating.
Oh wow, that's funny.
I know. So yeah,
Grindr and Tinder.
By reading a couple of things, it says that it had a 3.9 million total users, but only 10% actually came and used the services, which is, it's unfortunate. I think people aren't used to video just yet. Maybe we're used to the small live video like Snapchat and Instagram stories or memories. I'm not sure what it's called.
Easier. You're not. I think that the biggest thing is that when you're not live, then you can okay, well, I'm just gonna record, and then if I don't like it, I can delete it. But when you're live, you can't. You don't have that option. You're live. That's what you're putting out there is what people are seeing.
So in the now, is that what you mean? It doesn't matter what you say?
Real time, live video.
Before you can hit upload?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
you don't have the option to edit. You're just like live, and that's it.
So YouTube and Facebook are Google and Facebook basically is what you're talking about. They're the 800-pound gorillas. I mean, seriously, because they already have so many integrated users. Anything that they do has a huge audience. It's like when Instagram rolled out their what do they call their stories?
Their stories.
When Instagram rolled out stories, and all of a sudden there's 100, 200, 300 people in my stream who are doing stories that I know have never even opened up
But
Snapchat.
technically, Facebook launched stories because Facebook owns Instagram.
Yeah,
So,
but that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you already have a large user base and you don't have to build it from scratch, that helps out a lot. So when Twitter tried to roll out Periscope, but made it to where, or maybe they didn't make it, but they didn't have a choice, to where you had to go and Periscope and build a new following and do this whole stuff, and you couldn't do it from inside Twitter. They lost a lot of momentum doing it that way. Now that you can quote unquote Periscope directly from inside Twitter, it helps, but at this point, are people actually doing it? And the other thing that doesn't help them on Twitter is that it's 30 seconds, a minute, whatever. If you Periscope, you can do the longer version,
right.
but
No,
when Facebook rolls out, they already have so many people on Facebook. If Facebook were a country,
Do you think it's just because of the users, and at this point, some of the users are just going to use that
because
ability?
Because of the same thing that we talked about in Instagram is laziness. I don't want to have to go to another place and build another network and do all the work. All my friends are already here.
As we think about it, it seems it's the apps that are growing with the people. So Gen X is using You Now, and the younger millennials.
Gen X aren't the ones using You Now. I'm Gen X.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, Gen Y. What is it? I am completely confused.
It's Gen Z.
I think
It's Gen Z.
I think I'm still asleep here, guys. Okay, so Gen Z are the ones that are using You Now, and they're called You Nowers. And before them was the younger millennials, the younger ones,
the
which was not Snapchatters, but it was YouTube. So instead, it was.
I would say that the older millennials were YouTube.
The older millennials?
Yes, YouTube's been around 15 years at this point?
No, but it gained momentum about just, maybe about 7-8 years ago. It really doesn't have, its shelf life is very long, but its usage hasn't been so much. It wasn't so, people weren't making careers out of it.
Yeah, they were.
See,
I'm
at 8 years ago?
I have to disagree with you on this. There are people on.
No, they were, and they were doing things like small things. They were actually making videos, and they were using it as projects to go out there and show their capabilities. But there weren't actual careers. Like people, actually, what YouTube didn't roll out the partnership program not that long ago, where you can actually make money from their AdSense.
But there were still people already embedding ads into their videos.
But it wasn't a complete source of income. The way some kids are seeing things to do, like that's the way they're online. All right, this is a conversation we should come back to.
Yes.
All right, so we'll leave that one alone.
Obviously, we have a difference of opinion here. The difference between the way YouTube used to be used 10 years ago versus how YouTube is used now is that 10 years ago, it used to be considered you had to have a website to a company. Like, you had to have somewhere else, etc. And now you can be a YouTube star, you can be an Instagram star, you can
where
be a
it's
Twitter
just that's
star.
your platform, that's the only platform.
You never go anywhere else. I mean,
correct.
You're like, where is their website? They don't have a website. Why do they need a website? They've got a YouTube channel.
Or they tried their hand at websites, or they tried their hand at blogs or whatever, and it didn't go well, and they just shut them down, and they knew that YouTube was quote unquote their career. But
so as a user of Blab, did you get a message from them saying how that you could pull your videos, or is everything just lost?
Well, I don't remember getting a message from them at all, like in terms of the video. But the thing is, after each Blab, they email you your videos, so you
as an attachment.
Yeah, as a file that you can download.
Okay, cool.
So I guess it's up to you whether you download it or not. But going back to the conversation about Facebook and Google, like I think for me, Facebook, I think everybody hates Facebook so much.
Everybody
like,
loves
quote
to
unquote hates
Yes.
Facebook so much because they're like, oh, the algorithm, this and that and this and that. And to me, it's like, no, Facebook has staying power, and they are going to continue doing what they're doing, is like adapting and growing to meet whatever new technology comes out, whenever new apps come out. And so to me, I think Facebook is still probably king in the social media space.
The thing that Facebook managed to do that none of the other social networks had done was to integrate what we were doing in social with everything else. Mm-hmm. And so that's why you can comment on news channels using your Facebook login. And if you go to, as I said, Nordstrom's or Amazon, my biggest concern about Facebook I have several concerns. As a marketer, and I tell businesses this all the time, because a lot of businesses will tell you, well, I have a Facebook page, what do I need a website for? If Facebook decides you are in violation of their terms of service, they will shut down your business page.
Right.
And you don't have a phone number or any real way.
I thought she was going to say something else. I heard that.
And you don't have any real way of forcing them to reconsider. So you've got 10,000 people on
You've
Facebook.
heard those horror stories.
I've heard the horror stories.
Yeah.
You've got 10,000 people on Facebook. It's your only way that people can contact you. You don't have a website, and Facebook shuts down your page. Mm-hmm. So what happens then? On a website, even if you get hacked, you can go and create the same domain name somewhere else 2 days later and be up and running in 2 days. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But on Facebook, that's it. You're just out of luck.
You have to start from scratch.
You have to start from scratch.
But see, what I like about Facebook is that it's very customizable. So because I like to I can create lists of things that I want to see, or the things that I don't want to see. I can choose like my timeline, like what I want to see on my timeline, what I don't want to see on my timeline. So I like that it's very customizable, that I can adjust it and I can make it whatever I want it to be for me. And I think that's the struggle. Like with Instagram, I like Instagram, but I wish that I could organize it into lists. I wish that I could say, okay, this is the list of the accounts.
I have Twitter and lists.
Yeah, I like Twitter for the list too, but I'm like, I wish Instagram would have some type of feature where I could go in and I could, select which accounts I wanted to keep up with on a regular basis, so that I could go through.
Is it like YouTube has when you subscribe to some and you go? Yeah. So you go to the homepage and it's everybody's, and it kind of selects the things you would like, and then you have where you subscribed, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just shows that you want to watch all the time. And I agree with that, because even when I go through their stories or whatever, it's everybody's, and I'm like, I don't want to see everybody's. I want to have there's sometimes where I go keep up with people.
Right. There's certain ones that you like, and it's like TV. Like there's certain shows that you like, and then you want to watch those shows over and over.
Yeah, it's like you buy cable, you have 500 channels, and you only actually watch 32.
Actually, 32 is a lot for us. We watch like 2.
And my latest obsession is Fixer Upper on the home
Lord.
network.
From a user experience, they do that very well. To be able to, Facebook does that very well, so that you can go in and you can customize. I only have to see the things that I'm actually interested in.
Right.
But as a communicator, and we've had this conversation several times, the bubble that it creates, where it doesn't actually expose you to opinions and ideas that are different than yours, that actually does concern me quite a bit.
But you know what? I think somebody said a while ago, and it was a quote that Facebook said, they're out to entertain, they're not out to inform.
Oh, no, I'm not saying it's Facebook's responsibility to make sure.
But it's their algorithm that's making it.
Yes. Yeah. But it's an algorithm that's based upon our choices.
Right.
So my concern is then what happens is, if this is your only interaction and you're using Facebook for all of your news and all of your interactions with people, and you have gone through over the last 7 years
that
or
is
however
a scary
long,
thought,
to where you're hiding the stuff of the people who don't agree with you. You're walking around in this bubble that everybody in the world thinks the way you do. Well, okay, so what we're going to do is we'll come back and we'll revisit the topic, I think, because we're going to go out and test YouTube Live and see what it actually does and doesn't do. And then, of course, when Facebook rolls out their multi-seat live option, we're going to be among the first to test it. Hint, hint, Facebook. Just a reminder, you can catch new episodes of The Little Radio Show on hmsnetradio.org every Thursday at 2 p.m. Central Time. I don't have any children of my own. Absolutely. But I have nieces and nephews. I love them dearly. I spoil them. I used to joke that I would buy them noisy toys and send them home to mom and dad. And it was funny because it wasn't actually a joke. That's actually what I did. But my sisters are working moms. And if anybody out there who is a working mom, even if you're not a single parent, if you're in a, in a couple, you're part of a couple or whatever your domestic arrangement may be, you always need some help. So first day of school, and I drove my nephew to school for the first 2 days of school this year because we have learned, he goes to this wonderful magnet school, and we have learned from previous years that in the first couple of days, the bus system is spotty.
Atrocious.
Yes, it is spotty.
Goodness heavens.
Spotty at best. His second and third year, we tried to just send him on the bus.
Oh, my God.
And I ended up having to call into work and leave and get to work late because I had to go pick him up at the bus stop and go drop him off at school at the last minute. And he arrived late.
This last, beginning of the school, the bus left my niece at school.
Yes.
It's horrible. This is horrible. Not only that, but the bus is running an hour late to go pick up the kids. Poor girl. She had to walk home.
Oh, no.
She walked home because she thought the bus never arrived super early and had left her. And so my sister went back to the bus stop because my sister knows this at this point. My niece didn't. She didn't know what to do, and she wasn't explained, She took her back, and sure enough, the bus arrived an hour late. I think it was well after 8:30 before she got to school.
But we have gotten off topic.
As usual.
No, but it's a great topic. The reality is, though, things come up. Things like 1 hour late and, etc. And about a few weeks ago, about a month ago, my sister's like, he starts school on these days.
She advised you?
Yeah, these days, and I need for you to drop him off in the morning. Let me know if you're able to. And I checked my schedule, and it's fine. And I rearranged a couple of meetings and did this. And because I do this almost every year at this point, is make sure and I drop him off. And last year when I don't know what the school district was thinking, they designated Wednesdays as early dismissal day, meaning they were out at noon.
I remember that.
Out at noon, which meant that he was in after-school care for 6 hours.
Oh.
Yeah. I would go pick him up in the middle of the afternoon and take him home every Wednesday. And that was just the thing that I did because neither mom nor dad were able to. So here it is. And this is the stuff that I did. And a lot of people will go, well, you're self-employed. I did this stuff before, a couple of years ago, and he had summer camp, and I was still working in an office, and I had set up my schedule to where 2 days a week I got out early so I could go pick him up after camp, and he didn't have to sit there and wait until mom was able to pick him up, and that kind of stuff. So I'm an aunt. I'm Thea Sandra, and the ranks of the childless women in the U.S. is rising, quite honestly. There's a lot more women who have, for one reason or another, opted not to have children, or just it's the way that it ended up.
Or their children have grown up at this point.
Or their children have grown up, who are in fact vital support for those working moms and dads who need the help. It is almost an impossible task to keep up with all of the things that kids have to do and stay employed.
And you're right. I agree with you because as soon as my mom retired, she was part-time employed by my sisters to do, very minute things, which is pick up kids, drop things off, take child here. A child A needed to go to the doctor for a shot that mom could not take, and that's what they did. That this is what my mom does now. The school started up, and sure enough, my mom got. I was joking with my sister and telling her, mom is just kind of ready to get into that routine already. She needs to know who she needs to pick up at what time and what time she needs to be where. Like she's just ready for it, and so everybody kind of handed her the that laminated piece of paper that says the kid's name? Yeah. My mom gets one.
Yeah. I'm on the list. When my nephew was in private school, I had to go through the volunteer training and go through security. I had them do the security check so I could be allowed on campus to pick him up. That kind of stuff. But yeah, in extended families, in many, many families, not everybody. Everyone doesn't have, quote unquote, the luxury of this. But again, I don't have any children of my own. I have taken children on the first day of school. I've left work. I've taken days off from work because the daycare situation fell through. I've taken children on more occasions than I'd like to count to the doctor's office because they're not feeling well. I have, been in charge of the school snack. I have gone to sell Girl Scout cookies. I have gone to buy uniforms, and I've taken kids on emergency runs for school supplies.
My mom has also done the meet the teacher. When we go, you have to go talk to the teacher. The school grading period is up, and you got to go talk to the teacher. My mom's done that, and it's. I mean, thinking back about it, I think my mom is doing now more for my nieces and nephews than when she was a working mother, because she just couldn't. And so when those things fell through, they just fell through. Like there was nobody there to kind of catch, and she understands the necessity, the need for it. And so she's there as the drop net, that's catching whatever it is that falls through.
The safety net.
Yeah.
But when kids go back to school, it's such a, it's a great thing for the parents and for the, extended family who takes care of them during the summer, because
that's another one.
You a lot of what I've been hearing is like you finally have structure again in your day, because you're not worrying about the kids, like in our case a teenager who's calling you and like, hey, I'm hungry, or where are you, or what are you doing, it's like, so somebody who's always has a need and that you're responsible for that need, so now you have your day back, and it's like,
so you're ready.
It's like
So are you ready to sign up for year-long school then?
I'm ready.
I wouldn't mind. What is that thing that they were trying to do? 3 months on, 3 months off. No, 3 months on, 1 month off, 3 months on. Like I can do that, but an extended period of 3 months during the summer, it's like, oh, when is he going back to school? He's not being homeschooled, obviously. We were, it's not that we were dying for it, but, he was ready for it, because that was, he's used to that. And so he was getting antsy and
although I will confess, the first day of school, it was kind of weird. I was like, okay, where's Edgar? Like, I'm waiting for him. I'm like, I'm waiting for him to come mess with me, or like, I'm going to mess with him. And I'm like, he's not here. Okay, it's quiet.
Something's wrong.
Something's wrong.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah. When I went to preparatory school in Mexico, it's 2 years, we were 4 months in school and 2 months off. So like we went August, September, October, November, and then we'd be off December and January, and then we'd go back to school February, March, April, May, and then be off June and July, and then go back to school in August do, so I mean, 4 months, 2 months off was very cool, especially in December and January. It's cold and everyone else is headed to school, and we're like, ha! Still, one of the things that I love those kids. I absolutely adore them. And I am more than happy to do my part. We had the conversation last week about family being there for us. So today my take is, as a single person, I have, I'm going to say, fewer responsibilities, because I've seen both of my sisters' days. And my brothers-in-law, I love them dearly. They're, really, they're not bad guys, but as far as I'm concerned, they don't do as much as my sisters, and that's just the way that it works. Still, so for all the tias out there that, dropped their kids off for the first day of school and, went to go drop off the morning snack because mom didn't have it on the way to dropping it off, and went to pick them up after karate, after school, and is going to spend the weekend with them doing the science project and etc. Let me tell you, you're not alone. And we'd love to hear the stories from you. Thank you for joining us for another episode of The Little Radio Show. We invite you to check out our iTunes and our Stitcher channels and leave us a rating or a review. You can find the link to both channels at thelittleradioshow.com.